Good morning, soul friends. It's Nancy from Astrology and Angel Mediums today, and I was going to do a weekly check-in. But before I start, I just want to see how's everyone doing. I didn't really think I was going to be that affected by the TikTok ban, but then as I was trying to go through my videos and try to save what I could, it kicked me off, and that was really frustrating. I did make an account on Red Note, or a Little Red Book, whatever the app is called, Xiao, I think. And I don't really know how to use it because obviously I'm not fluent in Mandarin. I'm really glad to see that it is very similar to TikTok. So I may post on there if I can figure out how to do Mandarin subtitles on my stuff. And then I will continue to post on here. I may start sharing some of the intuition tests and things like that I was doing on TikTok and Instagram. I'll still post them on Instagram, but I may post some of them on here. So if that is something that you were catching me on or watching me for on TikTok, then maybe I'll just have to kind of move that over onto here. What else? It's been a weird week, right? We have crazy weather here in Colorado. It's been below freezing or below zero, sub-zero temps. I've just been kind of at home. People in my house are sick right now, so I'm just trying to take care of that while also not getting sick myself. So it's been very interesting. The one thing I am really sad about is losing CapCut. I have been using that for my video editing, and as an elder millennial, I kind of really struggle to learn new apps and stuff like that. That sounds very boomer of me, but I do. I'm not super technologically inclined, so I kind of tend to struggle a little bit. But I think I found something else that I can use in the meantime to kind of help me at least put some of these videos together. Because that was my intention this year, was to be a little bit more consistent on my YouTube. I would like to post about, 15 to maybe 20 videos a month on different things, like actual long form videos, and then, kind of share a little bit more. I would like to grow my YouTube presence a little bit more consistently in 2025. So thank you so much for joining me and for watching my videos. I really hope you guys enjoy the stuff that I share on here. And given all of that, let's just get into this weekly reading. I'm using my Magpie Tarot deck that I created. All right, so let's see. What do we need to know as a collective this week? So we have the Eight of Cups upright. What do we need to do as a collective this week? Another one. The Four of Swords. What do we need to release as a collective? We have the Seven of Wands reverse. And then what do we need to contemplate as a collective? We have La Bruja, which is the Magician. Okay. I think we're good with that. And then I may pull, actually, let me grab that real fast. Let's grab an oracle card for a little bit of extra guidance. And the Elemental Empath deck. So oracle guidance we have is Mirror. And then move these up a little bit so we have some space. I always feel like I don't have enough range to show you guys what I'm trying to do here. All right, and then I kind of want to pull from my Sacred Symbols deck by Marcella, who is amazing and fabulous, and I love her. And also the sun is going to be moving into Aquarius this week. So we have some shifts, some changes. And here we have home. All right, so let's see. What do we got? What do we have? All right, let's get into it. So for what we need to know, we have the Eight of Cups. Now, the Eight of Cups is a card of emotionally moving on from, really choosing to say, I'm just going to walk away from this because this is no longer in alignment with who I am. It's no longer in alignment with what I want. I'm sorry, my allergies are really crazy today. And I think that the biggest lesson here is that it's really saying, okay, so what have you emotionally checked out of? What hasn't really been in alignment with who you are, what you want, what isn't giving you like that stability, what isn't making you feel connected. When I think of the cups energy, I feel like it's very much this like moving into understanding how we feel, our relationships, our connections, and our intuition. So if something has been feeling a little bit like this is not really making me happy, this is not really working out for me any longer, the Eight of Cups is kind of saying like what we need to know is that we need to trust ourselves to say, I am going to move on. I'm ready to kind of like let go. I'm ready to kind of not continuously put myself in the situation that feels out of, like connection with what I want, whether that's a relationship, whether that's a job, whether that's, habits that you have in your life, whatever, things like that. It's very much about choosing to kind of move forward, to kind of go to the next thing, to really co-create a life that feels a little bit more connected for you in so many different ways. So for us to know this week is that maybe there are some choices that we're going to have to make, or maybe there's choices that have already been made, but we just actively have to say, all right, I'm actually moving on from this now. So there is a little bit of this kind of energy saying, all right, let's kind of move on from this. Let's not kind of remain stagnant in this energy. It's time to kind of choose something else and to move on from this. So what we need to do is the Four of Swords. Now, the Four of Swords is very much an energy of essentially just breathing, like allowing ourselves to kind of rest, to kind of move back into taking care of ourselves, of being present for ourselves, of, not seriously, not overthinking what's going to come next, not being so focused on like trying to analyze how this is going to be moving forward. And I think it's interesting because we have the emotionality of the Eight of Cups kind of saying like, all right, we have to move on. And then we're given this understanding that to rest is very sacred work. It's a sacred practice. And so here it's almost saying like we need to kind of honor what we really need right now, which is to rest. We need to take care of ourselves. We need to kind of move into understanding what we've been through. Maybe there's like some things that have been extremely mentally taxing. And so what we need to do right now is to just breathe, just take care of ourselves, to maybe take care of what our body needs. Maybe it's a little bit more rest. Maybe there's a little bit more of a sense of pulling back in some ways and not being so plugged into everything else, especially with that Eight of Cups, kind of saying like, hey, we have to kind of move on from certain aspects. So I think the Four of Swords here is kind of giving us an opportunity to say like, things may not feel like they're a lot of momentum and movement at the current moment, or especially this week, it may feel very much like there's a lot of things that we need to kind of process, whether that's the grief and the loss, and maybe even just the fact that winter can just feel very hard at times. It's cold, it's dark. I know it's not for everybody. I'm someone that actually really loves winter. So I'm a weirdo. I mean, like fall is like my favorite, but winter is up there because I just think it's really beautiful. It's very quiet. There's a like, kind of like just holding up and being warm and doing like, I don't know, drinking like a nice little hot cup of something and being cozy. There's something about it that I just really love. But again, I didn't grow up with winter as a kid. So to me, this is like, it's still novel. But I think it's very much that kind of energy of like, what makes you feel supported and cozy and comfortable? What makes you feel like you can kind of take a step back and kind of honor what you physically need? Because when I think of the fours, I think it's very much about like that stability. I think very much of like the physicality of our bodies and what our bodies need, because it's almost like this is our foundation, right? Our physical bodies. And so I think it's almost a reminder that maybe you just need to take some time out to ensure that you're resting, that you're supplying what your body needs right now, that you're taking some time out to kind of honor everything, kind of like being a little bit more supportive of yourself. And that can also be like even just on the mental plane. Maybe it's kind of saying like, okay, that's enough. You don't need to overthink. You don't need to like overanalyze. You don't need to sit there and kind of be like this or that or the other. It's very much an opportunity to kind of take a step back and take care of yourself and kind of just rest and get back to you. So next to that, we have what we need to release. Here we have the Seven of Wands. The Seven of Wands is this energy that I feel can feel a little bit confusing in the sense, because it can feel very much like you're being put, to the test in some ways. But because it comes after, the Six of Wands, which is a card of like victory and success and, getting that recognition, I think that the Seven of Wands reverse is almost saying like, don't focus on what isn't going to work out for you right now. It's not so much to be focused on, oh, well, this person doesn't like that, or this person doesn't accept this, or this person doesn't understand this. Maybe it is an energy of like saying that, like, let's kind of move it back within. Let's look at what we have overcome, what we've accomplished, where we have been celebrated, and let's focus on those connections and those relationships. So I think the Seven of Wands here is, again, a little bit of an invitation to kind of say, maybe we need to kind of release this desire and this need to have other people see us for what we have accomplished or what we've succeeded, and really look at, where we feel that way about ourselves and not needing like that external validation. And it's kind of interesting because I've been on TikTok since like 2020, and it took me forever to feel comfortable posting on the app and things like that. And I kind of figured out like what worked for me. I finally, like just in like the last month, maybe the last few weeks really, finally broke through 10,000 and then got up to even 13,000. And I was kind of thinking about it this morning where I was like, oh man, that kind of sucks. Like I, was trying to be so consistent on there and this and that, the other. And I had found something that worked for me that was within my comfort zone. And I still was able to gain an audience, and I didn't really share like where they could find me in other places. I mean, I have kind of shared before, but like those videos really weren't seen, or there wasn't a lot of views. So I'm kind of sitting here and I'm like, man, I'm kind of losing another pretty substantially large audience, just like I've been losing thousands and thousands of followers on my Instagram account, which I totally understand, but that was always like my biggest social media platform. At almost, I almost had 200,000 at one point in time. And so now I'm like at not even 150,000. It's still a ton, don't get me wrong, but there is a little bit of this sense of like, oh man, like I've worked really hard, because I've been on my Instagram page for the last 11 years. So, it's something that I've been growing over so many years and have, done so many things to try to remain relevant on there. But it is what it is. And here we are, we're on YouTube, we're trying to do this. It's all good. I guess, it's my age group. I get used to just like working on something for some sort of media platform, and then it's like, bye, I've been through like AOL and like Yahoo and MySpace and, all those other things, LiveJournal and Blogspot and all that other stuff. So I don't mind having to restart, if that makes sense. But I think like the Seven of Wands here, it feels a little bit like that. It's kind of this like sense of like, I worked so hard and I was seeing progress and momentum and movement in certain things. But now there's a little bit of this sense of like, well, I don't know what this is going to look like moving forward. So maybe it's kind of saying like, we just have to let it go. Things are constantly shifting and moving. And maybe we need to focus on what we've accomplished, what we've been successful at, where we have been victorious versus how other people perceive us or how other people may receive what we've been doing. So I think the Seven of Wands is also essentially an invitation here for us to kind of say, let's move back into feeling peaceful about what we've done and what we've accomplished. It's not really saying like, hold up and, get all defeated about everything. Because I think a lot of people are kind of feeling a little bit defeated as well. I know that that can be a big part of all of this kind of energy at the current moment. And remember, this is kind of telling us what we have to release, what we have to just kind of move on from, is this sense of feeling like we have to have it look a certain way, or like we are kind of being put to the test about certain things. Now, finally, what we need to contemplate this week, we have La Bruja, or the magician. So I think that this is more of like looking at what are we manifesting? What are we focusing on? Where's our spiritual awareness? And also remembering like that we already have all the tools within ourselves at our disposal to create the magic that we're looking for. Now, if you're like, I'm not a freaking magician, what are you talking about? This can just be like a reminder of how insanely powerful and truly connected you are to the things that you're trying to co-create in your life right now. And sometimes, we feel like a lot of things are out of our control or out of our hands, or like we really can't, do something, or it's going to be too challenging, or it's going to, require so much. I'm not saying that it's not going to be any of those things. It may be extremely challenging. It may be, it may require a lot of things that you don't know how you're going to get them at the current moment. But the thing is that if you have a sense of belief, if you have a sense of understanding of how truly magnetic, powerful, and magical you are, then things will come together. Things will kind of fall into place the way that they're meant to. Because I think sometimes we tend to forget like how powerful we are as individuals, and how if we just kind of put it in the universe's hands to kind of say like, okay, I'm going to do this. I need you to kind of provide me with the evidence that I'm on the right track, or that I'm doing the right things, that I'm exactly where I need to be. And then just letting the universe answer, you'll be so surprised by the things that you hear and how things can fall into place when you are moving with intention, when you are, on the most higher self kind of path that you're supposed to be on, when you're doing the things that you need to do. Now, does that mean that it's always going to work out forever and always? No. Sometimes we're meant to do something for a temporary amount of time. So you may be like, well, I was getting all these signs and I thought it was going to be like this. And I thought it was going to, be something that I could feel a little bit more established in. But sometimes it's meant to be a momentary thing that we experience, so that we can really move on to the things that feel more connected for us, where we feel like we are being celebrated in the ways that we're supposed to. So I think a lot of us have been going through like different transitions. Maybe we're having to make some very actively challenging choices about what we're going to do moving forward, what this means for us in general. Maybe we feel like we're having to walk away from a lot of things that can feel a little bit scary. And I totally get it. I know for me in the last year, I've had so much upheaval. I've had so much change in my personal life that it has felt very challenging. And this year, I'm just kind of like, okay, I'm just going to co-create with the universe and just be very like mindful of, if this is how you want me to move, that's how I'm going to move. If this is what you want me to focus on, that's what I'm going to focus on. And I'm just going to do my best where I'm at with what I know and with what I have. And I think the magician is very much that kind of energy. So I think it's almost like a reminder for you this week that like you need to kind of co-create. I think the magician is also this like beautiful kind of energy of like just communicating what it is that you want, like really being in like that higher mind, that with connection to the higher self of like, what do I really want? Like what really speaks to me? And I know it can be very hard to focus on those things, especially when you have all of the outside noise distracting you, or if you have a lot of responsibilities or a lot of challenges that have come up. But maybe this week it's kind of saying like, okay, let's really get down to like the bottom of this. Like, what do we really desire? What do we really need? And so I think that's why we have this as our to contemplate card, is that it's an invitation to really look at, um, and understanding that a good magician always knows what they're going to perform before they actually go out there and do it. So you have to know what it is that you're trying to do before you can require the universe to answer in kind. I have to make the space for what I'm looking for. I have to make the space to say, this is what I want to do, and this is how I think it'll look. Help me, and respond, basically. So I think that La Bruja, or the magician, this week is kind of an invitation to say, what are you manifesting? What are you spiritually aware of at the current moment? What is it that you really feel you need at this current moment? Because it is a major card. So it is almost saying, like, what areas of your life need this shift? What things need to change? And are you doing the steps required in order to make the space for what it is that you're trying to co-create at this moment? So I hope that makes sense. For our oracle guidance, we have mirror, which is kind of just telling you that the world is a mirror. We need to notice a pattern. We need to clear some blocks. And I think that this is all to kind of give us a little bit of a clear pathway towards the magician's work, right? I think that it's almost saying, like, we need to kind of look at, what are we receptive to in our environments, around, in our relationships and our connections, the people that are around us. Maybe we've kind of forgotten how similar we all are because we have felt so divided and so like us versus them, and kind of this weird energy of kind of feeling like maybe not everyone is always going to understand where you're coming from. And I think a lot of us have forgotten, or maybe have dismissed, how important empathy is in our relationships. I'm sorry, I'm having a little bit of a revelation at this current moment too. And so again, the world is a mirror. And while it may not always reflect exactly what we want it to, it may reflect what we most need to see. And I think a lot of things that have been coming up at the current moment is that there's a lot of stuff that needs to come up that we need to see, so that we can address it, so that we can find a better path forward, so that we can find a way to really connect to one another, and to remember, we're here to kind of experience all of this together, right? We're in it together. We all incarnated at this current moment because we were the ones that are supposed to be ready to kind of deal with this stuff, even though it feels very heavy, even though it feels very challenging. I think this is about, again, noticing the patterns, clearing those blocks, really understanding that a lot of our world is essentially a reflection of what we have going on within ourselves. A lot of the time, I'm not saying always, but a lot of the time there's things that are reflected back to us that maybe we have forgotten that that's kind of how we view the world in a lot of ways too. And so I know for me, when I started really changing my perspective and trying to be a little bit more receptive as far as how do I view myself? How do I treat myself so that I could kind of change how the world treats me as well? Things really started to shift. I may be someone that is seen as a little too optimistic most of the time, or a little bit too having that positive mental attitude and trying to be very focused on the infinite possibilities that are available to me. It took me a long time to get there. I'm not going to lie. This isn't something that happened overnight. And even though, like I said, the last year really tested a lot of things within me, and so it has been very challenging. And so I've come to understand that by me being genuine and me being connected to myself and really understanding what it is that I'm trying to create in my life, I'm being reflected that energy back. I have really amazing things that are coming together for me that may not seem very big to a lot of people, but they're massive to me because I'm co-creating my existence. I'm co-creating my environment. I'm co-creating the foundation of the life that I would like to really build upon. And so I think the mirror card is kind of here as saying, like, maybe there's something that we haven't really been seeing that clearly out in the world. And it's because maybe we haven't seen ourselves very clearly in some ways. Now, finally, we have the home card. And I think that this is almost just kind of a reminder of like finding your sense of home, your space. Maybe it's time to pay a little bit of attention to your current space. Maybe, when's the last time you kind of cleared some stuff out? Maybe, organized something, cleaned it up, maybe even just spent a little bit of time at home much more intentionally. Because I know for a lot of people, they kind of come home, they check out because it's like a little bit rote in some ways. Maybe there's something at home that really needs our attention this week, whether that's, what we feel home is to us, like in the grand scheme of things, like whether it's like, do you feel at home where you are? Do you feel at home in your physical body? Do you feel at home in the life that you've created for yourself? And if not, then what can we do this week to kind of start moving that needle towards a sense of what home feels like for you? Maybe there's some things that need a little bit, again, like I said, a little bit more attention, that are requiring a little bit more effort on your behalf. I know for me, I've been really, really busy, so I haven't really had a lot of time to focus on things that I like to do in my home. So like my Christmas tree is still up. And I was like, okay, I finally have today off. I'm going to, focus on that. And here I am recording a video instead. I'll get it done. But I think with home, it's a reminder of maybe, it's alive, it's an energy, it's a relationship. And we also have to kind of input some energy there too. And so maybe it's kind of saying like, where's the energy? How can we connect a little bit more to that? So I think this week is going to be one where maybe we're being asked to take a step back, kind of take care of ourselves a little bit more, walk away from things that maybe have felt like they've been blocking us, remembering our personal power, not feeling misdirected by other people's lack of recognition of our success and our stories, while also understanding that a lot of things are a reflection and we need to be very aware of what are we putting out and what are we seeing in the world, while also maybe handling some of the things at home that we've kind of put off. So I want to say thank you so much for joining me. I really hope you enjoyed this reading, and I hope that these are fun for you. Please take care, stay safe, and as always, make good choices. Bye.